Okay, in the last video, we kind of ran through the airspace and what it looks like on the map. One of the things that you can do to help yourself really prepare for the test and to just practice this stuff, airspace is like anything else. If you don't practice it, you're not going to really get all that good at it. And so you just have to do this. So again, going back to SkyVector, and what you can do when you're practicing is go to skyvector.com, and it's almost like throwing a dart. And what I mean is you can click anywhere on the map. Like let's say we wanted to do an inspection right here at Catawba. Could I do that? Can I fly there below 400 feet? The answer is yes. And because of that, we would have to be in Class G airspace. But how high does the Class G airspace go? So right there, it goes up to 1,200 feet. So again, Class E airspace is going to be starting at 1,200 feet here. We can do the same over here. Here's a power line. Can I do this inspection? The power line goes right through here to the powerhouse. Look at that. Can we do that? And what airspace are we in? Yes, we can. Again, assuming we're below 400 feet, because right here, Class E airspace would start at 1,200. Now we hit this magenta. What does it go down to? It goes down to 700 feet. So we are still in Class G airspace if we're just at or below 400 feet along there. Can we fly that close to this airport? Yes, we can. This is an uncontrolled airport, no control tower because it's that magenta color. And it's in Class G, uncontrolled airspace. Because remember, the Class E is only going down to 700 feet here, so below it, below 700 feet right there is Class G airspace. It's uncontrolled, and we can do that. Just a quick note, these little dots around here, a lot of times I get questions about that. That is another radio navigation aid, so we don't have to worry about that. It's an old-fashioned type. There's the frequency right there. It basically works like an AM radio station for airplanes to navigate to. So that's the only reason why those little dots are there, that little hash markings around there. Okay, so coming down over here, so Chippewa Valley Regional. Let's see, so we want to fly right here, right where my mouse cursor is. Can I do that? Yes, I can, because at the surface, it's Class G airspace. Actually, the Class G goes all the way up to 700 feet, where it turns into Class E because of this magenta shading. But what if I wanted to continue my flight over here? Could I do that? The answer is no, unless I got authorization. Because what type of airspace is this? It is Class D airspace. That blue dashed line. Control towered airport. Controlled airspace. And it's from the surface up to 3,500 feet. So I could fly here if I got authorization, but just as it sits without doing some extra work, I could not do that. All right, let's move out a little bit. We'll zoom in around here. So I want to do a flight, and let's see. Oh, there's a racetrack right here. That's what that little circle is. So that little oval is a racetrack. Perfect job. I got hired to film the race. I'm going to make a video of the race. Can I do that right there? So close to Madison. The answer is yes, I can right here, as long as I don't go, again, 400 feet, but actually I would be okay up to 700 AGL as far as the airspace is concerned. Class E starts at 700 feet because of the magenta shading. And I am close to, but not in, what is this? That is Class C airspace. The Class C airspace, I'm under it, but not in it. How high does the Class C airspace start here? Well, you have to go all the way over here to look. It starts at 2,300 feet. So I'm below it. I could film the race. If I wandered a little too far over here and I wanted to follow some cars down the freeway, could I do that? No, unless I got authorization. I could not just buzz through here, because from the surface to 4,900 feet, I would be in Class C airspace. The blue, controlled towered airport. Class C is controlled airspace. All right, how about a few more? Let's take a look at Chicago. These are towers. And interestingly enough, the towers, they look like these little triangles. And if you notice, there's always numbers next to them. There should normally be 2 numbers next to them. Sometimes it gets a little congested. Like this one, 1,048. And then it also says 360 in parentheses. This tower is 360 feet tall. The tip of it is 1,048 feet above sea level. Manned aviation, they fly sea level heights. So for them, it's handy to know in sea level how tall that is. So the tip of the tower is 1,048 feet above sea level. But for us, it's kind of nice. Oh, hey, that tower is 360 feet. These towers, actually those might be buildings. 1,053 feet are those buildings. This tower, 1,127 feet above sea level and is 377 feet tall. So we are going to do an inspection of this tower. Can I do it from an airspace perspective? Yes, I can. At the surface would be Class G airspace. I am under, but not in, the Class B airspace. Class B is starting at 3,000 feet. So here, I'm okay. As I get closer, I want to do something in here. Can I do that? Looks like I could. Class B is starting at 1,900 feet. As I continue my flight inwards, can I fly anymore? No. I would not be able to, because now I'm in the Class B airspace. I know that because it says SFC, surface, so I would have to have authorization to fly there. As a side note, it's a lot harder to fly in Class B airspace just because it is so congested. So authorizations aren't quite as easy as the other airports. Let's see. Let me bear with me for just a second here. I'm going to go up to Pellston, area that we might be a little more familiar with. There's a golf course right here. I just got hired to make an advertisement for that golf course. Can I legally do that without authorization? What are your thoughts? No, I can't. I would have to get airspace authorization to do that. And here's why. Remember the dashed magenta line? What does that mean? It's Class E to the surface. It's that Class E surface area. So out here, Class E is at 1,200 feet and above. When we hit the magenta shading, it drops down to 700 feet. And as soon as we hit that little dashed line, it drops to the surface. So even though, well, let me ask you this, that airport, does it have a control tower? No, it does not. It is an uncontrolled airport. But it's in controlled airspace. And that's where we were talking before, where it can get a little confusing. So that one's kind of a tricky one where you might have something like that on your test. A few other little tidbits. When you're looking at this dash line, don't be confused with that dash line with this one. These are These are lines of magnetic variation. As we go east to west, well, here's a trivial question. Is the magnetic North Pole and the actual North Pole in the same place? No, they are not. The geographic North Pole and the magnetic North Pole are in different spots. So, and right here, it's 7 degrees off. So it's 7 degrees of variation. Not a huge deal for us, but that's what that is. So do not confuse these dash lines with these dash lines. A couple other little things about airspace. Here's some good ones. There are what they call special use airspaces, which you should have already gone through in your modules. And here's one of them, restricted airspace. Could we fly in restricted airspace? And the answer is no. And that one's a little bit more straightforward. The nice thing about restricted airspace, one thing it's always going to be this blue color. It can also be prohibited airspace. The difference between prohibited and restricted is prohibited means that airplanes can never ever fly there. Restricted means that you cannot fly there when it's active. Sometimes they shut it off, so then it's okay to fly. So it's kind of like an on and off thing. But for the most part, prohibited or restricted airspace we cannot fly in. Here's another good question. This right here, that is an MOA, Military Operations Area. Can we fly there? Sounds bad, but actually you can. It's just an advisory. So a military operations area is just like, hey, be on the lookout. Possibly there are some airplanes flying around. Most of the time, they're going to be at a higher altitude anyway, but it is okay to fly there. So if you were doing an inspection right here, and all of a sudden you wanted to go over here, it would be completely fine to do that. Here's another bigger restricted airspace right here. So I'm hoping you find that that's helpful. Just go ahead and go to this website, poke around, play around, just look at anything and it's like, hey, I want to do an inspection on this lake or do a video right there. Can I fly there? Yes or no? And that will help you prepare yourself quite a bit. Some of the airports, like this little circle, versus an airport like this, the ones with the circle do not have a paved runway. It's a grass runway. Where all the other runways, they're paved. if they're outlined like that. So another a little tidbit there. So go ahead and practice, and we'll probably try to have a review of some kind, and let me know if you have questions. Thanks.